On Tuesday, at exactly 4:12 p.m., the rest of the world stayed completely grounded. Cars drove normally through the busy city streets, heavy commercial airplanes flew smoothly through the clouds, and billions of ordinary people walked along the concrete sidewalks without a second thought. But when I took a single step out of my bed to grab a glass of water, my feet never touched the floorboards. Instead, I fell violently straight up, crashing spine first into my own bedroom ceiling. Gravity didn't disappear from the face of the earth. It just completely forgot me. My name is Sora, and up until yesterday afternoon, I was a completely ordinary high school student, dealing with everyday problems. Now, my bedroom ceiling has become my permanent floor, and my entire life has been turned upside down. The terrifying physics of my new reality set in almost instantly as I lay pinned against the plaster, looking down at my bed hanging above me. The absolute moment I let go of a heavy, anchored object, my body floats helplessly upward toward the sky, like an escaping helium balloon. I realized with absolute horror that if I ever step outside my front door without a literal anchor holding me down to the dirt, I won't just float into the clouds. I will plunge infinitely into the freezing, empty, oxygenless void of space. To survive the first 24 hours of this nightmare, I had to completely transform my everyday life into an obstacle course. I packed a heavy hiking backpack to the absolute brim with dense rocks from my yard, strapped solid iron gym weights to my ankles, and tied a thick mountaineering rope tightly around my waist, securing the other end to the solid wooden post of my bed frame. Moving around my own house suddenly became a grueling, exhausting full-body workout. Every single step I took required me to slam my heavy iron boots violently against the floorboards, just to keep myself from drifting toward the light fixtures. Simple tasks became impossible. If I accidentally dropped a pencil, it didn't hit the floor. It shot straight up like a rocket, snapping its lead tip against the ceiling. If I tried to pour a glass of water, the liquid drifted out of the pitcher in shimmering, chaotic spheres, floating away into the upper corners of the kitchen. I was a literal prisoner to the open sky, completely trapped inside the prison of my own home, praying that whatever broke inside my physics would just fix itself. But you cannot keep a massive, physics-defying global anomaly a secret from the world for very long. By the morning of the second day, the fragile peace of my isolation shattered. A massive, unmarked black military helicopter suddenly hovered directly over my suburban house, shaking the windows in their frames and kicking up a massive storm of dust outside. Before I could even process the deafening rhythmic roar of the rotors, the entire roof of my living room was violently ripped completely open by mechanical claws. The sudden, violent change in air pressure threw my weighted body upward into the blinding sunlight. My mountaineering tether rope snapped completely taut with a sickening jerk, saving me from flying straight into the low-hanging clouds, but I was left dangling completely upside down in the open air, a mile above the crowded city streets below, screaming for help as the wind ripped at my clothes. Armed tactical soldiers clad in high-tech mechanized exosuits descended rapidly on steel cables all around me. They didn't speak a word. They quickly clipped heavy magnetic chains onto my iron boots to drag my drifting body down back into the dark belly of the aircraft. They didn't treat me like a medical patient who needed a doctor or a scared kid who needed comfort. They treated me like a highly volatile, live weapon of mass destruction that could go off at any second. I was immediately transported to an ultra-classified underground bunker, buried more than 500 meters beneath the solid bedrock of Tokyo. The facility was cold, sterile, and heavily reinforced with layers of blast doors. There, inside a central laboratory filled with hums of supercomputers, I met Dr. Yeager, the head of a secret global defense initiative. I demanded immediate answers, screaming at him to use his advanced technology to fix whatever rare genetic disease had broken my body's relationship with the Earth. But his cold, calculating response chilled me straight to the bone. He didn't offer a cure, because there wasn't one. The universe hadn't made a mistake with my DNA. Instead, he pulled up a massive, glowing holographic monitor, displaying a live, real-time feed of our solar system. He looked at me with completely dead eyes and said, "We didn't capture you because you're broken, Sora. We captured you because you have accidentally become a cosmic compass. Look closely at the screen and see what your body is trying to tell us." He activated a real-time thermal tracking overlay on my physical body. Even though I was trapped deep underground behind feet of solid steel and concrete, my body wasn't just floating straight upward toward the bunker ceiling anymore. Because the room was heavily reinforced with magnetic clamps, my body was now being pulled horizontally. My torso was straining violently against the magnetic chains, pointing directly toward the eastern concrete wall at a sharp, aggressive, unnatural angle. You aren't actually losing your gravity, Dr. Yeager explained, his hands visibly trembling as he adjusted the coordinates on the monitor. Your body's fundamental gravitational alignment has been completely rewritten by an outside force. You are being pulled toward a highly localized, massive cosmic object, and it is getting closer to us by the second. He zoomed the holographic space map past the orbit of Mars, past the debris of the asteroid belt, pointing his finger to a massive patch of absolute distortion in space, where stars seemed to warp and vanish. A dark, anomalous celestial entity, completely invisible to standard light telescopes, had just breached the outer edges of our solar system. It was moving at impossible, reality-bending speeds, swallowing cosmic dust, and heading on a direct, unalterable collision course for Earth. The entity wasn't a standard asteroid or a rogue planet made of rock. It was a sentient, hyperdense celestial mass that manipulated physics itself, and for some terrifying unknown reason, out of the 8 billion human beings living on Earth, its gravity had chosen me as its localized anchor. My physical body was reacting to its cosmic pull long before our advanced planetary satellites could even detect its presence. I wasn't a sick patient. I was the universe's ultimate early warning system, tied by an invisible rope to a monster in the dark. If that dark entity reaches our upper atmosphere, Yeager whispered into the heavy silence of the bunker, its sheer gravitational mass will literally rip the tectonic plates right off this planet, destroying humanity instantly. We have exactly 48 hours before total planetary extinction. Every city will crumble into the oceans, and since your body is permanently anchored to it, you are the only variable that can guide our prototype kinetic missiles to strike its hidden core before it crashes into us. We need to use your body to aim the weapons. As the final words left his mouth, the invisible pull deep inside my chest suddenly intensified with agonizing force, making it hard to breathe. The heavy magnetic chains holding my iron boots to the bunker floor began to creak, groan, and warp under a sudden, violent surge of kinetic power. The solid metal rings were bending out of shape, failing under a sudden force originating from millions of miles away in deep space. The invisible entity had just accelerated its descent. It was pulling my body directly through the concrete walls, demanding that I return to the open sky where I belonged. The tactical soldiers in the room panicked instantly, drawing their weapons and rushing forward with heavy welding equipment to add more titanium brackets to my failing chains. But as the pressure in my chest grew into a burning heat, I could feel a strange truth vibrating deep within my own bones. I wasn't just a tracking device for a military weapon. The thing waiting in the dark sky wasn't trying to destroy the Earth out of malice. It was lonely. It was desperately calling out to me, searching for its missing piece across the vast ocean of stars. And if I wanted to save the lives of everyone on this planet, I was going to have to make a terrifying, irreversible choice. I would have to cut my ropes, release my heavy iron weights, and let myself fall directly upward into the unknown, dangerous void of the sky to meet it face to face. The final countdown to the end of the world has officially begun, and my ultimate descent is launching straight up. Thank you for watching Anime Echo Tales. If you want to find out what happens when Sora finally releases his heavy anchors, breaks his military chains, and faces the entity waiting in the deep sky, smash that subscribe button and leave a comment below. Will he destroy the entity, or will he become something entirely new? The next chapter of this epic cosmic mystery drops very soon. Stay grounded, because I won't be.